It's the role of the Rebbe to learn Hilchas Beis Abchira in the days Ben HaMitzorim, also to connect it with Teo, Tzedakah. Everybody should give Tzedakah. We have the honor today to have a Choshev German, Yescai צירקינד, which is going to give us some insights into the building of the Beis HaMikdash. Yescai, b'vakasha.
The Rambam writes in Perek Ches of Hilchas Beis Abchira about the din of Shmiras HaMikdash. And he writes that you have to have guards setting up the Kohanim and Levim in the Beis HaMikdash. The Mishnah writes, "B'shleishim Mekaymes," the Kohanim were guarding, and Chaf Aleph Mekaymes the Levim. So what's the din of this? What's the purpose of the Shemrim? Rambam says it's not because of pachad of listim and oivim, not because we're afraid that somebody's going to break in and steal things. It's partially because of kavod hamikdash. It's the kavod al Beis HaMikdash to have shemrim. So if it's because of kavod al Beis HaMikdash, then the shemrim l'chayira should be there a whole day. It's at the kavod of the Beis HaMikdash. Says the Rambam, no. The mitzvah is balayla. The mitzvah of shmiras hamikdash is only by night. Why? L'chayira, such a special mitzvah for kavod hamikdash should be a whole day. Another question that we have to understand: one of the din of the shmira is that the kohen, there was the ish harabayis that would go around and would check up on the mishmores to see if they're guarding, if not, if they fell asleep, and so it was going around the Beis HaMikdash. So the question is, what does this going around have to do with the shmiras hamikdash? The kohenim were there, and how does the going around add in the shmiras hamikdash? So that explains that the shmiras hamikdash has to do with hesach hadas, that it's constantly on our minds. We never stop thinking about the Beis HaMikdash for a moment, and therefore, by day, once you begin the avodah, the kohenim are always there in the Beis HaMikdash doing the avodah. It's always on their mind, and therefore, the Beis HaMikdash is always being guarded in that sense. However, by nighttime when the avodah ends, so that's where the mitzvah of Shmiras HaMikdash comes in, because in order not to be Mesiach Das. One of the things it says regarding the place, it says Beis Haftinas or Beis Hanitzutz, it says that Hoyo Aliyos v'Arevim Shemrim Sham, that there was a second floor, and the Revim would go and guard over there in those areas. What are Revim? So the Gemara explains that these are people Dleimotu Lemevad Avodah. These are people who do not reach the stage of Avodah yet. What does that mean? So the Mefarshim al-Asar explained that this is referring to Tanim. They are they're under 13, and nobody else wanted to do this Shmira, so they gave it to the Ktanim. The Ktanim did. So the other Mefarshim, Mishnah Malach asks on this, how could you say this? A mitzvah Shmiras HaMikdash, how could it be done with two Ktanim? But based on this inyan that there was a ish harabayis that was going around, and based on this, we understand that even through Ktanim we can do the mitzvah through Ktanim, because really it's not something which you really need kavanah. It's something which just by being there, and you're not Mesiach Das. So when the ish harabayis would go around, it would be al derech God Elohimid. It would be al derech God Elohimid al Gabo. So since he's Elohimid al Gabo, it's part of the mitzvah of Shmiras HaMikdash, and therefore the Ktanim can do the Shmira as well. There's an interesting Indian that a while ago in the times of Tzemach Tzedek, there was a big going, and he wrote a whole dion about this. He holds he wrote a sefer Mishnahs at L'Avi Yaakov, Moshe Meshel Gelbstein. He writes that there's a mitzvah of Shmiras HaMikdash even Bizman Hazeh, and he tried to institute this concept of bringing Shemrim to the Har Bayis in areas where we were allowed to, and based on the Memshala and based on the times that when he was allowed to, he tried to bring Shemrim there. However, most of the poskim disagreed with him, and there was a big to-do. The Avnei Nezer wrote about it, and Minchas Elazar wrote about it, and a lot of them argued, and they many rayas going back and forth explaining why this mitzvah doesn't apply today. One of the rayas is from this din, why it doesn't apply, because we say here that the Reivim would be Shemer in the Beis HaMikdash. Reivim are Ktanim, according to this Pirush, according to the Mefarish on the Gemara. If there's a mitzvah that we done through Ktanim, how could you say Mela that it would time Beis HaMikdash and Beis HaMikdash was standing? No, so they said it could be done through Ktanim. But it's not a mitzvah that has to be done today, because how could you do such a mitzvah through Ktanim? Meaning, if it's done through Ktanim, they hold that it's not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah say, even though the Rambam writes as mitzvah say, they say that it's only a smach. It's not a real mitzvah. So, there's no mitzvah as manazeh. The Rebbe brings up this topic in Tafshin Amud Beis. The Rebbe says that in many Slav Dafka Upgefrek, the svara of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yaakov, that there's a mitzvah to have a shmir of zman hazeh. There's room to say that there's a shmir. It doesn't go into the details of why he holds like this, but the Rebbe brings it up and says that it's not ganz Upgefrek, the svara. And based on this sheet over here, the Rebbe brings up in the Sikha, says that the Ktanim were there, were doing the Shmira. But being that there was a Gadol that was Mechazer, Ish Har Bayis was Mechazer, Kol Mishmar, so he was the one that was really doing the Shmira. He was Gadol Eimed Al Gabo. So really, he could be to the mitzvah, even though it's a mitzvah, even though it's done through Ktanim. But still, the Ish Har Bayis was Eimed Al Gabo, was allowed them to fulfill the mitzvah. And this is one of the Nyan of the Rebbe Far Enters why why even though it's done through Ktanim, it could still be considered a mitzvah. But later on in Tov Shinun, the Rebbe again brings up this topic, and the Rebbe again asks this question that l'chayra is a mitzvah to Shmiras HaMikdash, and we don't find that anybody did anything about this. We find that he says Mishnah is Rabbi Yaakov, but more than that, we don't find, and most of the places disagreed with him. But the Rebbe, it seems like the Rebbe felt that there should have been Shmira in the Har Bayis. And the Rebbe was asking why wasn't there? L'chayra such a special mitzvah that Shmiras HaMikdash should have been done bisman hazeh as well. And just like tefillin, we wear tefillin Shnat Es Chadas because something's holy. So the Beis HaMikdash, and there's places where we can't go today because it's holy. The Shmira of the Mikdash should still apply today. So how come we don't do it? So the Rebbe says that for the most part of the time being in Golus, it has to do with pikuach nefesh. Ospashas hakonos nefesh is having a shemrim in those areas, and therefore it was never instituted such a inyan. However, that's only in the Beis HaMikdash Hagashmi. But in the Beis HaMikdash Ruchni, the Rebbe says that we certainly do need we do need shmira, and that's referring to how the Rebbe says that inyanim that we have we make as holy, inyanim that we the Rebbe speaks about having every child should have a pushka in the room and having a chumash tilman tanya. These are things that are guarding our own mikdash, and the shmira has to be done today as well in the Beis HaMikdash Aruchim.
Just want to remind, if anybody has a siyum mesechta, still need some assignment to mezakeh the people.